Hi, artists of the Paso Robles Artists Association. I'm Tom Berger, and I was your judge today. And I'll tell you, I really had a good time, and I was impressed with all of the art. It's clear that you have a very cohesive and cooperative art group there, and I think you're very well directed by Linda Smith. So I was impressed not only with the art, but your whole organization. I'll try to keep this tape to 5 or 6 minutes. You'll see some of the pictures as I saw them when I went through here. Let me start off with the easy one first, which was best of show. I looked at everything several times, and as Linda will tell you, I even took a short walk outside to clear my head, make sure that I hadn't seen too much and forgotten anything. And to me, best of show was City Made of Air. I'm not sure who the artist was. It's hard to read the signature, but that one just really impressed me. There's nothing that I can really say that I would critique on that painting. The use of color, perspective, shadowing, implied reflections, the horizon, the way it led you down the avenue. That was just a great picture, and no shame on anybody else. That was just a great painting, so that I chose as best of show. Since we're talking about paintings, I then went through all of the paintings, and I appreciate that you organize things by category. It's a lot of work for you. It's not really necessary for me. You could have it set up in your show format if you wanted. You've got little colored tags by each piece to tell me what category it's in, but it was nice to see it in categories. So in paintings, the one that stuck out for me, because you had this theme called monochrome, and so when I judge the art, I guess one of the first criteria I look at is whether or not it's trying to adhere to that theme of monochrome, and then looking at the art from all the other perspectives. So with that in mind, and I know not all of you followed the monochrome, so I didn't rule that against anybody, but it's kind of a first cut as I look at things. The painting that impressed me the most, I guess, in monochromes was a small painting called Night Oak. Very detailed against a night sky and stars, and it takes you into the painting, and the more you look at it, the more detail you see. I thought that was great. That was my number one in the paintings, monochrome. And then the painting right next to it, also monochrome, Big Sur Fog. Really a nice use of one color and different values. Not only do the shapes recede in perspective, but the values recede in perspective, and it all comes together very, very nicely. And so that was my second choice on the monochromes and paintings. And then the last choice for that, and boy, when I get down to third, there's ties for third and so on. But the one I chose was Golden Girl, and I know that's by Linda Smith because it said so on the tag. But that pastel is really nice. Again, it's all one color. It's on very coarse paper. It's got great texture. And I know that figuratives are hard to do and portraits are really hard to do. And that one looks very convincing and very realistic. And because it's all one tone, that was my third pick in the paintings. I won't go beyond that because then we'll all have a big argument. So then I looked at mixed media, and mixed media was kind of a tougher one to choose first, second, and third in because they're all different. So they're all nice in their own way, and it's tough to say this one was better than that one because it's different than that one. So really, probably more than anything else, my own personal taste comes into play in the mixed media case. But there were some clear standouts there. The one that I picked as number one in mixed media was the Grand Canyon Morning, and that's an etching all in one monochrome. And without the use of color, which most Grand Canyon paintings you see have, it gives you a sense of the immensity of what you're looking at in a very small dimension. So I like that. And then there were two figurative sculptures there, Torso and Strider, and I looked at them for a long time, thinking about both of them, trying to trade one off against the other. And when I finally came down to it, I chose Strider. It's got more detail in the sculpture. Marble is harder to work with than walnut. It is finished all the way around, meaning, you know, you can look at the face and see detail, you can look at the butt and see detail, and, you know, like a true sculpture, it's meant to be seen from 360 degrees. And the posture of the sculpture and the look on the sculptor's face all work towards that title of Strider. And I realized that, you know, the sculptor did not do any detailed feet there, and he didn't have to in this particular case. So that was number 2. And then number 3 was, boy, now I've got all kinds of mixed media on the wall and on the table. And, you know, one of the things I've learned recently in my own pursuits of art and art shows is that jewelry is really a fine art as well, custom jewelry. And it tends to be overlooked, I think, by many artists and by many jurists. And so I looked at that, and I chose Copper Sunrise, very detailed, monochrome certainly, because it's all color coppered, very craftsmanlike in its putting together, and it looks really nice. And so I chose that as number 3. There are 3 or 4 others I could have chosen as number 3 as well, so I hope that doesn't offend anybody. It's because it was a unique type of art that I was drawn towards it. I'm a photographer by lifelong passion, and I do painting now, but not as well as you guys do. And so photography should be easy for me, but actually I had the hardest time choosing number 1, 2, and 3 in the photography that was on the wall. There's a lot there that I like. Again, there's a lot there that I've seen before many times. So I've seen it before many times. I will tend to choose something that I haven't seen before, or I've seen very rarely. So in photography, I ended up choosing for number 1, soft. It's an out of focus, deliberately blurred, pinks, reds, and yellows kind of. I would imagine it's a close-up of tulips that have been deliberately manipulated that way, but it's a very effective photo and what it does, and it kind of made the point to me that a photo does not have to be clear and sharp and in focus and recognizable for what it was to be a good piece of art. So I chose that as number 1. Number 2 I chose was Blue Morning. Now here again, it's a photograph. It's obviously of a real object, but it looks like an abstract, and it forces you to consider both the differences in hues and the differences in shapes and how they work together. And so it was a nice blue and gray abstract, and I really liked that, and so I chose that as number 2. And then number 3, boy, here was another. There were a number of scenic shots here, and tempted to go for almost any one of them. But the more I sat there and looked at them, the more Over the Fog caught my attention. It's more monochromatic than the others. It's pretty much this the gold color of the setting or rising sun, and then the silhouette of the hills. The hills fade into the distance and draw your eye into the distance, where you then discover the oak tree standing on the ridgeline. So all of that came together for me, and I chose that as number 3. So I hope nobody's offended. I mean, anytime anybody, no matter what their background or skill, judges an art show, a lot of it comes down to not technicalities or rights or wrongs. It comes down to personal preferences. And so if I didn't choose your art and you thought that was a mistake, maybe it was, but at that point it was just a personal preference. So a great group, a great show. I really enjoyed being your judge. I hope to do it again, and I hope you have a great 2 months of show and everybody sells it all. Thank you.